right? Compromised Microsoft SharePoint instances.
That's right. That was a cyber bite we put out.
Yep. Hi, I'm Eric.
I'm Mike.
Welcome to the Cyber Sitrep, the Cyber Situation Report.
Wow, got it.
Finally, yes.
Okay, it's been 4 years or
It
something.
leaves me hanging.
No, it's been like
right?
4 years or whatever, but we finally got it. I was just basking in our glory. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, soak it in. Synchronization. Yeah, we did it. Oh, good.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, Mike, we started this series because remember we're kind of surprised with just the sheer prevalence of hacking incidents out there that are high impact, and we get kind of desensitized to it because there's just so many. So this is in that thread. This is the high impact hacking incidents.
You've gotten another letter that says, hey, we're going to pay for your identity protection. But it's the fourth identity protection letter you've gotten with the fourth identity protection company.
It doesn't even raise my heart right now, Mike. That's how bad that is, right? I'm sure you guys and gals
I already got one. Thanks from the last hack.
So this is just yet another episode of that, right? Of high-profile incidents in 2025 continued. And boy, man, I was trying. You know me, I like to be able to put things in its container, OCD a little bit.
CDO.
And yeah, exactly.
The letters
don't
in the
do
right
that.
order.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. It gets me every time on that CDO. I'll get that.
My daughter tells me all the time. I'm like, you're OCD, and she CDO. Put them in the right order.
That's funny. I like your daughter. That's awesome. Very cool.
She keeps me on track.
Awesome. So as a segue, we're going to do another sit rep on this AI shakedown, right? We've been trying to use AI in our environment, see what it's all about, et cetera. So anyway, one of the test cases I gave it was, show me what the top, 2025 hacking incidents are based on impact, right? And so it gave me a top 10 list. And I'm not sure I agree with the ranking and ordering of all that. Stay tuned for the sit rep about AI. I'll give you my thoughts on that.
Right.
Too long didn't read, as I think it's a great tool, but in measured quantities, right?
If you did see, the lawyers are getting it wrong, so we can discuss that too.
Oh yeah, right on. See, I can't wait. I'm excited. So most of these are from the second half of the year that were on there, and they're all over the place, Mike. Some of these are nation states, which scares everybody to death. Some of these are just organized criminal groups. Some of these are still unknown, which they could be nation state.
Organized crime ones connected to the NBA, like the current gambling.
Yeah, we're dating ourselves, right? So that scandal just broke. So if you're paying attention, when we recorded this.
That's
right. But no, they're not, oddly enough, right?
Okay.
A new ransomware group on the scene, Qilin, which is apparently the name for a mythological creature in Chinese culture. Very cool. We'll get into that in a minute. So anyway, we just want to go over those. I've got 10 of them here, Mike. We'll read off of these together. But it's just staggering to me I had to go through it twice to make sure the figures were actually correct.
Right.
Because I'm like, that can't be right. The AI's got to be wrong, right? And so I double checked through other sources, and turns out where it pulled the data from, where I found it, the same thing. It's bad. It's bad, right? So let's start with and once again, not any particular order on our part. It's what the AI said, so we're just going to spit them out here. But we had the Salesforce campaign by Shiny Hunters that occurred in September, where, let me see here, 1.5 billion records across 760 companies approximately were pilfered.
And I like how they tend to downplay. And when they'll say, there were 760 companies that were affected, and you think, well, for Salesforce, God, that can't be that many. And then you go, 1 billion records. You're like, never mind. That was a big one.
That's a lot when you put a B in front of it, right? Yeah. So, and once again, we'll go into the narrative in just a second, but the suspected vector or confirmed vector in some cases, and this one it was confirmed, OAuth tokens that we use for multi-factor were compromised, and then social engineering attacks were leveraged on top of that to gain additional footholds into
and by vector, it's the way that they came in. We're looking at the attack vector.
Yes, exactly.
And OAuth is the authentication protocol that was used.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike, for that. Yep, absolutely.
Well, we were just scolded about how we were too technical in our last pod, so I want to make sure we're trying to be less so this one.
But it wasn't a scolding. It was actually a really valid point, because that was pretty tense.
It depends on how you take it. I want to take it like a petulant child, and I was scolded.
Petulant child, nice. Go to your room, Mike.
That's right.
You're like, I want to, but you still want to record these
I know,
with me.
we got to do
That's
this.
funny. All right. So anyway, Salesforce, 1.5 billion records. You guys can look it up. They use
Basically faking a token.
stole the tokens.
Stole
in this
a
case,
token
yep.
and pretended to be someone else.
Through a
to get
third
in.
party, though, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't Salesforce directly.
Right.
It was a third party that got compromised that used that to come in to pivot into Salesforce and then do their damage from there. So check your email. You may be getting something. If you're using Salesforce, then definitely pay attention.
Contact your sales rep and see if you were affected.
Yeah, and one that I've been tracking this. It started I think it started back in August or early September. But the Jaguar Land Rover hack that happened. Did you hear about that?
I've heard. I didn't dig too deep into it.
So this shut down Jaguar for their operations for over 5 weeks.
Oof.
Right? Yeah.
How much do you lose per day? I always ask my clients, what's your per day?
Wait, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know the per day because that's math, but the U.S. rate, it was 1.9 billion in British pounds, $2.5 billion impact in U.S. dollars.
That's right.
For a 5-week outage, right? And Jaguar did the right thing here, right? JLR is their acronym, right?
Right.
Once again, we're not sure exactly how the bad guys got in. It's still an active investigation.
Still looking at it.
So we're not sure if it was social engineering or if it was a third-party compromise yet. There's lots of rumors out there, but we don't deal in rumor intelligence on this.
No.
Not on this Sitrep anyway, not on this particular one.
Maybe we'll have to start another one called a Rumit.
Yeah, exactly. Rumor intelligence, right? So let me read here. So it looks like they noticed the global IT issue at the end of August, start of September, and then they started shutting systems down to contain the incident. So they were doing the right thing, right? They were trying to contain this thing.
Right.
But unfortunately, that impacted their production facility. So no shiny new Jaguars or Land Rovers were moving off the line for 5 weeks. And that also impacted their supply chain. So all their parts, all their dealers that needed to be able to get parts, everything else, couldn't get them.
Or the dealers that were selling them parts didn't have a reason to sell them because they weren't making the cars.
Exactly.
Or the
exactly.
trucks.
So everybody suffered on that. That's why that impact's so big. It wasn't just JLR direct. It was all the downstream effects, right, from that. And once again, that is still an active investigation going on, but apparently they did have their production facility back up, and they're making your shiny new Land Rover Discovery, as we speak. So,
and a lot of the cyber criminals, what they're doing is they get in, lay dormant for an extended period of time. Usually they figure out how long you're keeping your logs for, and they attack after your logs rewrite.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's why it's harder to find out. Well, I can hear the audience thinking, well, why don't they know how they got in? A lot of times they get in, wait, then when all the logs and the proof of how they got in has been overwritten, then they take action, and all you see is the action.
Right, exactly.
You don't see how they got in.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, it still is an active investigation. So, they don't want to tip off the bad guys necessarily,
if
right?
They do know, right?
Yeah. So, once again, please look this up in your search engine of choice. You can get all the rumor intelligence juicy bits you want because it hasn't been confirmed. I don't feel comfortable talking about it on that. So, all right, the next one that is near and dear to our hearts, Microsoft SharePoint zero-day campaign from a Chinese Advanced Persistent Threat, APT, right? That means nation state, Chinese hackers working on behalf of the Chinese government, right? Compromise Microsoft SharePoint instances.
That's right. That was a cyber bite we put out.
Yep. And the estimate was at least 100 organizations, including multiple U.S. government agencies.
I just happen to know a facility here in town that does help desk for Microsoft, so tier 2, tier 3 support. They were busy.
Oh, man, I imagine. Right. And this particular threat vector was they were targeting on-premise SharePoint servers that were connected to the internet so that you could come in remotely into your organization. And once again, that's a modern use case, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, the cloud-based versions through Microsoft 365, Government Community Cloud, and GCC High were not impacted. It was only the on-prem server. So there must have been some difference in the code base there, right?
And there is, and people don't necessarily realize that even between the Active Directory. Your on-prem and the cloud have two different kind of code sets. So.
Exactly. They seem to work almost the same, but they're very different under the hood. So that was what we call a 0-day, Mike. So for the audience, what's a 0-day?
The 0-day it's almost like day one of COVID. How did it start? Who's patient zero? right.
That's a great analogy.
New vulnerability that someone discovers, and really, we don't know the true 0-day, meaning when did the hacker or China in this case discover it. We call the 0 day the day it reaches the world when we know.
Right.
So this is the day it hit Earth. It's alive.
Meaning that we
it's out
don't know
there.
about it, so therefore we don't have any defenses or inoculations against that.
Exactly.
So I like your COVID reference there, right? So, unfortunately, multiple patients had a really bad day with this, and then once
and it can spread,
Right.
depending on what it is.
Right. And
so
then-
we see it. We see like, oh, your SharePoint's been breached. Oh, mine's been breached. Someone else's has
we
been
have
breached.
a pattern. We have an epidemic, right?
So that's your 0 day spread
Yep.
until we can get a fix and inoculation.
Yep, absolutely. And so, Mike, just full disclosure, this particular incident made give me the topic for another sit rep I want to do, talking about your cybersecurity supply chain. Should you be all in one? Should you be separates? We're going to go, I know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's a very loaded rep. We're going to
makes
go
you
into that in
go,
the future. It does. Because it's going to be an interesting sit
Yeah,
rep.
that's a good
That's why I
topic.
didn't want to do it in this session, because we got to put a lot of thought into
Yeah.
it to articulate our thoughts correctly. All right, so the next one just happened. F5, big IP again, right? So what is F5 big IP, Mike, for the world? What do they do for us?
F5 is a huge company. So
Right, and they make appliances that sit between an organization and the internet and their web server, right? So they're there they do multiple things, right? So they do load balancing is traditionally what we think of. So that way like Google, for instance, when you hit Google, you're not hitting one system, right?
Wouldn't that be strange?
Oh, that would be bad, right? It would take you like 10 days to get a search
10 million
result.
people all trying to
Right.
touch one physical
Right.
server.
So there's
Not
literally
gonna
a
happen.
farm
Right.
of systems behind there acting as a web server in concert, right, as a
Right.
cluster. And so this F5 device, one of its claims to fame is able to load balance between all those nodes to keep the consistent experience on your end, the user, but then managing all that complexity in the background, right? So that's one thing. It also does security. It also does, health and monitoring, all that stuff, right? So it's a very complex tool. And unfortunately, as we know in the InfoSec world, the more complex a product is, the more holes it likely has in it that can be exploited,
That's
right?
right.
It's just a function of size, right?
Think of the all-in-one printer.
Yeah.
You're like, it's printing. Oh, but it won't scan.
Right.
Or my fax stopped working.
Right.
Or
Exactly. Now, that once again, great analogy, right? So that happened in the middle of October. So it's fresh, very fresh. And unfortunately, this is nation state attributed as well. So meaning they're not saying exactly who it is right now,
Right.
but it's one of our adversaries. So China, Russia, insert
I
name
would say
here, North
let's
Korea.
Let's hope it's an adversary. It could be Canada. I'm
Well,
just saying.
wow. Wow, look at you. Wow.
They're fighting back.
Yeah, and you were just up there. You were really close to the
I know.
border just last week. So,
I know.
wow.
And we have a subsidiary, Digital Beachhead Canada. So
Oh, right. So it does impact you.
Yeah.
So you're straddling the fence there, my
we
friend.
are. I wanted to call
So-
it Digital Beachhead A, but
That's funny. That's funny. Oh, you got me there. So the issue with F5, why it's such a big impact, is because the government's in bed with F5,
Well,
and a lot of other large
I was going to
corporations are as
say,
well.
if you go to any website
Mm-hmm.
that you realize it's not you, it's not your friend's website, it's not a local artist's website, it's the website that the world goes to.
Right.
F5's probably involved in some form
yeah,
of fashion.
they're one of I think they're the biggest, and they're in the market of like 3 or 4. NetScaler's another option. I was trying to research that before, but F5 definitely has the market share. And in my experience, and I know you've got the same, both on the blue suit side, active duty, as well as a contractor, I've seen F5 over and over and over and over because it just works, and it's a beast, right? But they're having a bad day right now. So the problem is that the bad guys got into F5, stole source code from their development teams, and then leveraged that to then launch zero-day attacks, which we just talked about, against live appliances on the internet. Right?
So if you're building code and you're housing it in, say, GitHub, make sure that code can't be used against you.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly what's happened there. So once again, that is still ongoing. So they have issued emergency patches, things like that, but it's very much a firefight right now. So our hearts go out to F5 because, man, this is a big one, right? This is a really high impact. So
Right.
okay,
And it goes to show that if you're a big company, you're a big target.
absolutely. I mean, think of Adobe as the other, similar case there, because they're ubiquitous and used everywhere. Just everybody's poking at that code, trying to find ways in, right? And they do, unfortunately. So, all right, another one the AI threw up here was Prosper Marketplace breach. And I had to look up what Prosper was because I don't get out under the rock very often, Mike, but it's a peer-to-peer lending platform.
Okay.
Really cool, right? So it's
Peer-to-peer
a combination
lending.
of not venture capitalists, but every man
Joe
like you and
Schmoes
I,
being able to
right, go in and as a collective, right? Say maybe there's 10 people that want to secure that line of credit that you need to be able to do that home improvement. They're the ones that front in proportion that money, and then they of course make the profit off of that with the interest and everything else. Yeah. Very, very cool concept, right? This one impacted 17.6 million people, and it compromised credentials, right? And so it looks like it was once again an unauthorized third party gained access, meaning the third party was compromised. They used that as a pivot. And once again, to Prosper's credit, they didn't get into the Prosper internals, but unfortunately, they were able to scrape all the user account records.
Well, and then that's the follow-up attacks. So then, I'm a bad guy. I get your details, and then I pretend I'm prosperous, and I'm like, hey, by the way, I need your password because we got a backup system gone wrong.
Absolutely. Right.
Now I get to your financials, right?
Yeah.
It's never always a straight in, get the money.
So this commercial crime, right? Not a nation state with this one, but
it makes sense in the sense this is money.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going for the easy targets.
Yep.
All right, the next one. Oh, and once again, I was impressed. The AI actually gave me a little fun tip. So the next is Qantas customer data breach. So Qantas is the Australian airline, right?
Yep, I remember that.
And actually, I'm paranoid about pronouncing things correctly. So I asked the AI, "How do you pronounce Qantas?" And it actually gave me the breakout, everything else, and the fun tip. I got to read it here. The name Qantas actually is derived from the acronym QANTAS, which stood for Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Services.
Okay.
So that's where Qantas came from.
Didn't know
Pretty
that.
Cool. I was cool, right? So
ding, ding, the more you know.
Exactly. You see the star. Yeah, it's great. So anyway, once again, the good news is it wasn't Qantas internal directly that was impacted. It was a third-party contact through their support center that was compromised, and once again they got user data, but they weren't able to get in any further than that. And I believe that is still actually that was back in July. Let's see here. They're also saying that the attackers wanted a ransom, and they didn't do that. It's still an ongoing investigation. So
but Qantas didn't pay.
It looks like no.
That's good.
No, it looks like that. Yep, that's great. Another one, Alliance Life Insurance Company had a data breach back in July. The
majority of records in life insurance.
There are, right? And once again, third-party cloud customer relationship model, CRM software breach, and social engineering. Could that have been attack to Salesforce? I don't know.
It's another way in.
It's possible, right? So the majority of their 1.4 million customers had their data compromised, their social security numbers, general details, right? Contact details, dates of birth. Which once again on the surface, as you pointed out, is an earth-shattering, but that can be used to try and do fraudulent accounts.
Correct.
More in-depth, social engineering attacks against those people, et cetera, right?
Joking, the more you know, the better picture you can paint on who is Eric.
Yeah, the more
I have his
effective.
social, I have his birthday, I have his 4 past addresses.
Right, exactly. So I can see a pattern of where he's been, right, and build a profile. Very, very scary stuff, right? So once again, Alliance said the majority of its customers were affected. Let's see, if you want to check, go to Have I Been Pwned? We always recommend them, right. To see if you're in that. And once again, they've terminated that affected third-party account. They've got forensics on there. They've notified law enforcement. So they're doing the right things here. But once again, a bad day if you're an Alliance Life customer there, right?
Yeah, your data's...
So,
and that's why we said previously, your data's out there.
Yeah.
So it's just out there again.
Agreed. And Mike, that's the point. We get so desensitized to this because it just happens so often. But I still think this has value going through this, just to see that it's not going away and that we're not hallucinating this, right? This is really.
If you haven't seen it on the news, because they have other stories to
right,
tell.
because it's not news
this
anymore.
This is still happening.
Yeah, exactly. Still happening. Okay, next one, a little bit smaller. It's kind of, once again, the AI spit this out for me. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Montana had a data breach, about 500,000 customers. Once again, this is still under active investigation. This just occurred. And the thing here is because it's so fresh that the narrative that they're giving right now may not be the complete narrative. There may be additional things going on. But right now, it looks like it's superficial, similar. They got to the outside perimeter, didn't get into the juicy internal, but we don't know yet. So stay tuned on that.
Right.
So that one's there. So, Mike, for us people based in the United States, what is Harrods? Harrods of London.
Harrods of London. It is the store in London.
Oh, man.
If you think of all the biggest, and I'll use posh items you can purchase. Very luxury
department store, right?
Exactly. It's the high end of high ends. People pay just to have a Harrods bag, like shopping bag.
Yeah, that used to be like back when we were stationed over in England, that used to be a sign that you would arrive when you actually went to go see Harrods.
That's right.
Right?
To actually shop.
Well, if you could shop, right?
That's because, what I'm saying. I walked through many times and just went, wow, who can afford this?
Right. And, honestly,
it was a tourist destination.
It is. And to be fair, they have a lot of things that are affordable.
Yeah.
A beautiful place. Anyway, long story short, luxury department store.
Yeah.
If you have to ask, if there's no price tag and you have to ask how much it costs, then
they don't want you there.
You don't need to buy it. Right. So it's that kind of store. Well, anyway, it's kind of a good news story here. 430,000 customers had their once again, customer records copied, but this was not done inside Harrods, right? This was a third-party supplier compromise. So somebody downstream from Harrods that had that customer data, they got compromised. But then Harrods found out about it, did the right thing, engaged their forensics, incident response, etc., verified there's nothing inside Harrods, but still, almost 500,000 people.
And if people are getting a trend here,
yes.
Most attacks aren't happening at the front door, right? They're coming through that third party, these side doors to get access.
Exactly. Whatever the lowest hanging fruit is, right?
Exactly.
So, all right. And then the best for last, in my opinion, right? The Asahi Group had ransomware, right? And if you guys know what Asahi Group does, they're the beverage conglomerate, right? They do beverages, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, beer. They do beer. That's their big claim to fame. They also do food, right? I mean, they're just a huge multinational conglomerate. Earlier in October, they had their production halted and their supply chain was completely disrupted, right? And it was all thanks to ransomware from no assumption on their nationality, but they're using a Chinese name, Qi Lin, which is a mythical Chinese creature, kind of like a chimera or a griffin or something like that, where it's multiple parts mixed together. So once again, they're not saying, they're keeping it kind of close to the chest. They haven't said exactly how they've been compromised yet, but the fact that a company that large has ransomware inside their organization, that's going to be ugly. So, if you catch our other Sitrep, we talk about, backups, the 3-2-1 method, immutable storage, all that stuff.
This is why.
Yeah, well, and it's easy to do when you're smaller, but as you start to get that size, that's a substantial cost, right, to make that truly ransomware resilient. But, I'd argue, and we don't even have cost metrics yet because it's so fresh, but guaranteed.
Or they're paying.
Right. Well, we don't know. Right. I like it. See what you did there? Look it up yourself. Follow that in real time.
Exactly.
But, when you impact somebody's beer, now you got my attention, right? I can't get my beer that I like.
Now we're in tune.
Yeah, now we want you, right? So anyway, ongoing, follow that. But it's happening to all kinds of companies, all verticals. It's a mix. Like you said, you found one trend is that, people are hitting the sideways and downstream from third parties. But other than that, it's just across the board, man. It's prolific.
No one industry, no one size business.
Which means no one is really immune or safe or overlooked in this.
No, and we're going to cover that.
From the fund. Yes, we are, in an upcoming Sitrep.
That's right.
So I believe that's what my my company's too small.
Yeah,
for
my company's too small to be.
Right. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are the top 10 for now, according to AI ChatGPT 5. Woohoo!
And if you check yours, it could give you another 10. right?
I'm sure it can. Yeah, absolutely.
One, 'cause
more
we've
news
slept.
to follow on that. You'll catch our AI Sitrep. We're going to go over that shortly. But that's it for right now. As of today, fresh.
So be
I'm sure there'll
scared,
be
be
more.
aware.
Yeah, we're trying to do this quarterly, right?
Yes, the updates of what we're seeing
all
out
the
on the
hacking
wire.
incidents. Yeah. So, all right. Any comments or concerns? Please let us know.
Remember to like and follow.
Please do. And as always, thank you for your time and attention. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Talk to you later. Hey, remember to like and follow us here on our podcast and YouTube channel. And we are coming to you from the Studio 809 Community Podcast Studio at the Next Us, which is a professional cooperative environment for small businesses here in downtown Colorado Springs. You should check them out.
Come check it out.